So you're finding yourself more passionate about your career than you are about your marriage. And you're asking yourself, gosh, is there something wrong with me? Well, rather than focus on what's wrong with you because you're not as excited about your marriage as you are about your job, I wonder if you might ask yourself, what is it about your job? What is it about your career that's got you so passionate, that you're enjoying so much? And try and see what might be missing in your marriage that you might want to include or add to make your marriage as exciting as your career. Now, I had a situation in my own life that this actually applied to very, very closely. You see, there was a period of time when I was working, and I was actually just so excited about work and all that was happening in my career that I found, in contrast to going home, I was actually more excited to go to work than I was to go home. And I asked the same thing, what's wrong with me? Because it seemed like, what kind of a husband am I? What kind of a father am I? That I would rather be at work than at home. I spent some time really thinking about it. I spent some time really praying about it, really asking for some insight for what was really going on. And this is what I discovered. It really wasn't even about my relationship. It turned out to be great news because things were going reasonably well with my wife. The marriage was feeling pretty good. But you see, I had things going on in my career that had a level of excitement to them that I wasn't duplicating at home. Part of it was because I had an attitude when I came home that was that, one of the things I need to do when I'm home is rest. One of the things that I need to do when I'm home is veg. I just, had a busy day, was really active and so forth. I needed time maybe to sit in front of the television and just kind of tune out. And what I began to discover as I looked at this is that there was actually a restlessness inside of me. That whereas on one level, when I would sit in front of the television or I would just kind of try and relax, that there was something inside of me that was needing something interesting to stir me, to get me wanting to actually plug in and devote some energy to it. That I had that going on at work made it exciting for me to go to work. That I had nothing like that going on at home, in spite of the fact that my family was doing well and my marriage was doing well, made me feel different about going home. So this is what I came up with. This may not work for you. This is not necessarily the solution for everybody, but this really made a difference to me. I realized I needed a hobby. I needed something that I could be as interested in and excited about going on at home as the kinds of things I had going on at work. Now, I thought about it. I looked around, tried to say, what could I do? And I came up with a couple of ideas, and they just didn't do it for me. Well, at that point, we were living in a house that needed a lot of updating and so forth, and I just thought, hey, maybe what I could do is get into some home improvement things. And it turned out to be perfect because my wife is kind of handy, and we were able to do that together. And unlike a lot of couples, we actually work really well together when we get into those kind of projects. And what I found was that what changed was now when I'm at work, I actually found myself at times having to check myself because I'm thinking about my project at home and I couldn't wait to get home. And all I did was be clear that I wanted things to be exciting at work and things to be exciting at home. And I wanted to find ways to have exciting things going on in both places and manage both. Now, if it turns around and I'm so excited about being at home and I'm never excited about work, well, I'm going to look for the things that I can do to make work more interesting. Now, here's how it relates to your marriage or to your spouse. Without even realizing it sometimes, we actually get to a point where we have just lost interest. Things become sort of routine, mundane, boring. We think that we've lost interest in our spouse altogether, don't want to spend much time with them anymore, and when we do, we're always doing the same thing. There's a way in which you can actually, with control, turn this thing around and actually make your marriage filled with romance, filled with passion. You can control this, and it's really simple. All you have to do is choose to be interested in learning more about who your spouse is. Now, I actually had a situation where a guy said to me once, I don't buy this. because there's nothing that I don't know about my spouse already. There's nothing you can tell me, nothing she can tell me that I don't already know. And I looked at him and I said, I'm so sorry to hear that, because if that's the case, the possibility of having romance and passion, that real spark still there, is gone. You see, the essence of true romance is fascination, curiosity. And I've come to realize that I will never exhaust the possibilities of learning something new about my spouse, and I'm so excited about that. You see, one lifetime isn't close to enough time to ever fully get to know any human being. And I'm learning new things about Jenny, learning new things about my wife all the time. Now, just to keep it interesting, she keeps changing on me. But still, I'm learning something new, and that makes it interesting. That makes it exciting. That's where the passion is, because that's what the essence of it is. Think about this. A lot of people think that romance and passion has more to do with, let's say, giving gifts of flowers or candy, or it has something to do with the setting. You want to have an ideal romantic setting where you've got your favorite Italian restaurant, you're eating by candlelight and Vinny's playing the violin, or maybe you're walking on a beautiful beach on a moonlit night with the stars shining and the waves crashing, or you're sitting in front of a roaring fire on a bearskin rug drinking hot cocoa or whatever your beverage of choice happens to be. Now think about this. You take any two people who have zero interest in each other and stick them in the most romantic setting that you can imagine, and notice, nothing is happening. But you take two people who are fascinated with each other and you stick them in the middle of a Walmart parking lot on a cold, drizzly, dreary evening, and you're going to see sparks flying for miles. Because you see, the essence of true romance is fascination. And the good news about this is that fascination is something you can choose. You can choose to be curious. You can choose to be interested. And I love it because it gives me the power. One of the greatest fears that I have in my life is boredom. I'm terrified of being bored because it's going to feel like I'm a living dead person. And I don't want to live like that. I want to be alive. I want to be full. I want my marriage to be filled with romance and passion. And all I have to do to see that happen is choose to be curious and fascinated with my wife, learning new things all the time. And it keeps life so interesting, and it keeps me alive, and it keeps my marriage alive. And I'm convinced that I'm going to be able to have a romantic, passionate, exciting, adventurous marriage till the day I die. And that's the way I want it to be. And I would be thrilled if you'd join me. I don't think there's enough people in the world that we would be able to have too many that are that excited.